That is prejudice.
I agree. Wow.
But he went really poetic and far with this human soul, not recognizing that there's a human being behind all of this. I don't know how to feel about that because Sol&LunaTV. Hola Sol&Lunatics, bienvenidos a
Sol&LunaTV. Yo soy Sol.
Y yo soy Luna, and today we're here to react to a debate that happened in the 50s between a bunch of countries, including the Philippines.
En Indonesia, en US. I think Russia was
You
there?
guessed it right. I didn't even bother to read the title of the video.
Oh my God.
Escándalo.
Scandalous, yes.
Very
This video
cool.
was requested by you guys
Long time ago, the First Nation lives together in
Thank
harmony.
you so much.
But everything changed when the
Thank-
Fire Nation attacked.
Thank you so much for your patience. And before we react to this,
Remember to subscribe to this channel,
yes.
like this video, activate the bell, comment on this video, and yeah, share with all your friends and family and even with your enemies, because why not?
yeah,
Let's
just
watch-
send them this random link, like
Yeah, don't without context.
without context.
Let's watch the video. Category are we on right now?
Welcome to our forum discussion on the roots of prejudice.
Mm.
We'll be talking about what our prejudices are, where they came from, how they're nourished, and perhaps even how to get rid of them.
Okay, so the
Alright.
countries are Indonesia, the United Kingdom, Japan, and the Philippines.
Oh.
Let me introduce you to the 4 student participants in today's discussion.
Oh, it's so cute,
Ratnati
Indonesia.
Dinata, high school student, 17 years old, and also a
Wow.
talented dancer from Indonesia.
Wow.
From Japan,
You know, that's so cool that she's smart student, but also she's dancer. She's a creative. She has an appreciation for the arts. She's an all-rounded, talented person with a big brain.
Yes.
Indonesia for the win.
Oh, wow.
Yoriko Konishi, whose lovely voice
Hey.
you just heard. From time to time, we like you to get a sense of what we do in all those times when we aren't having serious discussions.
But so, what does that mean? That she's a singer?
I don't know.
We very often get Yoriko to dance or sing.
Ah, Yoriko, my girl. She is talented, she can dance, she can sing, and she's also a smart person from Japan. What is that?
Yes.
These people are,
From the United Kingdom, 18-year-old Judith Reeder. Judith's got a bit of a cold today. It did not come from swimming in the Atlantic Ocean, although she assures us that when she's in England, she does swim in the ocean during the winter.
oh wow, she has high tolerance to cold climates because she is a Viking. Also,
Climate.
like,
Weather.
wow,
Just say weather.
she can swim. I am jealous. Absolutely
From the
jealous.
Philippines, Raul Contreras.
Uy,
Raul is
Raul.
16 years old, patriotically enough on the 4th.
He's so cute, but stop covering your face.
And also, he's the youngest of the bunch and
Yeah.
the only guy.
Yeah.
law. He may admit some prejudices, but one he obviously doesn't have is a prejudice against women, or he wouldn't have been willing to appear tonight with 3 women being the only male on the program. Now, on this question of prejudice, perhaps we ought to start out by trying to define what you think prejudices are. What do you think prejudice is, Ratnati?
I think prejudice is a feeling of hate of people as a group or individual toward other people.
You say a feeling of hate. Do you think prejudice is as strong as hate?
I was going to wonder the same, like, well, prejudice is like as strong as hate
I
because
don't think so, to be
prejudice
honest.
is just like the
It's a
disposition
perception.
the perception that you have certain type of a group of people.
Yeah,
you
based
know, like-
on stereotypes and
Yeah, yeah.
stuff that you are not very
or
informed
based
about.
on rumors or
Your own
ignorance,
bias, ignorance.
Yeah, not necessarily hate.
It's just, it comes from not knowing exactly a lot
Ignorance.
about a culture,
It
but
comes
then
from ignorance.
like having perceptions based on whatever stereotypes. Oh my god, I'm repeating myself. Stop.
When
Well, she
there's
said
somebody,
yes.
if he has a prejudice, then they absolutely, I hate such and such.
Well, I suppose that is true. What do you think prejudice is, Eureka?
I found that
I still disagree with Indonesia, but okay.
Yeah.
if somebody distinguish between two white men, it is not prejudice. But if somebody distinguish between a white man and a colored man, it is prejudice.
I would define prejudice as...
Why Philippines was laughing about this answer?
I have no idea, and I don't know exactly what Yoriko wants to mean about that.
Yeah, and also
are you
like
going with this,
I wouldn't
Yoriko?
say that's prejudice. I would say that's segregation or discrimination. Not really prejudice. But okay, that's
rigid opinion.
that's their opinion in the 50s.
Informed about a certain thing before there has been a just examination of the facts.
Thank you. You see, United Kingdom is more accurate in
When a
this.
person loses track of the dignity of the human soul and
Oh my God, Raúl
His voice
speaks.
is like an adult. and
Yeah,
he's the
he's
youngest.
16, and his voice, he sounds.
Like the president.
Oh my God, he really sounds from the 50s, guys.
when a person loses track of the dignity of the human soul and begins to judge others not on the basis of their being persons, but on the basis of race, creed, economic status, that is prejudice.
I agree. Wow.
But he went really poetic and far with this human soul, not recognizing that there's a human being behind all of this. I don't know how to feel about that, because like my logical brain is saying like this is too sentimental, but also I admit that it's necessary to bring some humanity into these discussions, because after all we are talking about human beings, so like good.
I think these kids are very,
Very
smart.
smart.
You,
yes.
Whether you have any prejudices?
Well, I guess so, Mrs. Waller. And being brutally frank, I'm prejudiced against Japanese.
Wow.
Not to the extent that I hate them. No, not that way. But I got this, as a result of World War II. Because...
And he's sitting next to
Next to
a
the
Japanese
Japanese.
person.
Yeah.
Like if it was really a strong hate,
He wouldn't
wasn't
even
as
sit
strong as
next to
hate,
her.
like Indonesia
Said,
described. He
yeah.
wouldn't be sitting next to her. He would be like, I don't
No,
want to sit
change
next to
seats.
Japan. Can I sit
Sit
somewhere
next to
else?
Indonesia,
Yeah, you know,
please.
like somewhere else.
Yes, I was yet too young to understand what happened during those times, but I think that what my relatives and friends and the people who were witness to that unfaithful occasion, they just more than justify the fact. And I think it's justified for me to feel the same way, because I know that my people suffered very much under that rule.
You still as prejudiced against the Japanese as you were?
Well, 5 years ago, that prejudice of mine was, slightly fading away. But when Japan stubbornly refused to pay reparations to us, the prejudice began to brew again.
Óyeme, I am very impressed with their vocabulary, because they are using words that
are very
fancy.
academic.
Yeah. People don't talk like this anymore.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I found out from close contact with Yoriko and other Japanese that Japan isn't ready to pay reparations yet, because as Yoriko said, some of them and most of them even have to suffer the cold in the classrooms because they can't afford to heat the school.
Eureka, you've got any prejudices?
Well, I don't have any prejudice for Philippines, but many Japanese people hate Korea because
Yeah. In Korean,
president
hate
of Korea
Japanese a lot.
made the line, his own line, on the public sea between Korea and Japan. And if the Japanese fishermen go over the line, they are caught by Korean people, and they can't go home for a while. And we are trying to be friends for Korea.
Well, paradoxically, this friendship is still
It's still like this day. Like how long has
up to
it
this
been?
day is still rocky as fuck.
Yeah. It's just Korea. South Korea don't
It's now ready to forgive and forget yet,
In
because
totality,
they're
yeah.
still people who is alive that were wronged by the Japanese.
Yeah.
So this is too recent for Korea still. I'm not justifying, I'm just stating
Stating the
facts.
facts, yes.
Unbiased.
Now that we've started, we better go on around the circles. Judith, you got any prejudices that you admit?
Yes, I suppose I'd better admit them, although I'm English. I have some very foolish prejudices you'll probably laugh. For instance, as soon as I meet a person with red hair, I always put myself on my guard because
Really?
I have a silly prejudice that all red-headed people have terrible tempers, you know, that they're as passionate as the color of their hair.
Really?
Where does that comes from?
Wow. So this is why redhead people are bullied.
I don't know, actually. I have no idea. If you have red hair, please let us know in the comments about
To me,
your
red
fights,
hair is
your
so
struggles.
unique and so beautiful.
Yeah, and it usually comes with
Freckles.
Freckles,
Yeah, I had a
beautiful.
student like that,
Oh,
and she was
really?
so beautiful.
And also like
But
the,
she was not
the
white.
eyelashes.
Yeah, they
it's
were
so,
orange.
It's unique.
Orange
it's
or
so
brownish.
beautiful. My God.
Red.
Silly prejudice. For example, when I first met the Australian delegate, Elizabeth Woodgate, who hasn't been on television, I was shocked by her accent because to me it sounds just like a Cockney accent would in England. And I hope I'm not conceited or anything, but a Cockney accent in England, you know, most English people would shudder a little bit when they hear it. But
What
she
is
very
a
frankly
Cockney
told me that
accent?
She shuddered when she heard my accent. So I got paid back for that too.
Why did she say she did?
Oh, I think she imagined that, she said she really had to forget my accent in order to like me, because it's too formal. I gather most Americans think about the English as well.
Oh.
Aw.
And what is a Cockney accent?
Let us know in the comments if you know
Nadia,
this.
it's your turn.
Sometimes I can prejudice against the Dutch people. When in school, when I learned the history and learned how the Dutch people treated Indonesian.
Oh, I didn't know there was
Ah.
some beef between.
I
Dutch.
didn't know this
Some of the
either.
prejudices of my own. That's I hate people who were proud and who feel
So
that
it's interesting that Indonesia is the only one who mentioned hate in their definition of prejudice, but it's because she herself hates. You see? Interesting.
he is the master of the other people, and who thinks that he knows everything than anybody else.
Oh,
Let's
so
come back to you,
she
Miss
hates
Ralph.
arrogant
Are there any
people.
prejudices in the Philippines between groups of people?
Yes, there are existing prejudices between groups of people. As a matter of fact, most of us still, are prejudiced against a group of hybrids, those who have more Spanish blood than Filipino blood in them. And we
Really?
term them as mestizos. Well, these incidents usually occur in the schools. As you know, I'm in a school run by Spanish monks.
Wow.
Well, we have a lot of those of that group studying in our school, and usually they are favored.
Yeah.
But we think, and we think that we are right in saying that they are sort of aristocratic, conceited, and high-headed, and sore-headed, and all sorts of adjectives.
He's laughing at all these adjectives. I don't know why. But it makes me laugh too.
They have the foolish idea that they have the royal blood or royalty in them.
Well, how do you get along with
Maybe he believes this too. Raul, please explain.
I think Raul doesn't live anymore.
Really?
Yeah, 'cause
this
I
has been in
think-
50s.
I think I saw
You
a
saw a Where
video
Are
of
They
Where
Now?
Are They Now? And I don't remember because it was long time ago. But I think that he's not alive, but like his son or his daughter, I don't know. If you know, let us know in the comments. And if you want us to react to the Where Are They Now video,
Yeah,
let us know.
in the
Because
comments.
YouTube algorithm put that video on my way, but it didn't put this one, so I don't understand how that works. So I actually watched the Where Are They Now, and I didn't watch the debates per se.
boys in school, Ralph? Are there any problems?
Well, frankly speaking, I don't get along with them pretty well. As a matter of fact, we usually fight with one another.
You could see that he
So,
thinks
yeah,
like that about the
there
mestizos.
was a problem with the mestizos in the Philippines because, as he said, like, since they had a Spanish blood, and Spain was so aristocracy, yeah.
They
Like
think
with
it's
the
royal
people
blood.
that only high society can speak Spanish, and only high society can like do this and this. So if you were mixed with Spanish, you would have the attitude like, hey, I'm better than you because I'm half Spanish, and also I can speak Spanish and you cannot, or whatever, like it's understandable.
Is there any problem? Yes, Eureka.
Yes, Japan had many American or European soldiers after the war, and most of them married with Japanese girls, not only formal wedding, and they made children who called hybrid. And I think the hybrid have nothing to be punished, but some grown-ups didn't used to treat as the Japanese children. And
It's interesting that she's talking about this because this is a problem that still is ongoing. People
In Japan?
in mostly of countries where there's people who is heavily mixed.
Okay, not heavily mixed, but like
It's homogeneous like Japan and Korea, and then suddenly you are mixed with white or with black. Suddenly you're treated way different. You are not even considered that you're Japanese if you are half something, even though you were born in Japan. I mean, you are by citizenship Japanese, right? But people see you as you are a foreigner anyways.
I didn't know that.
I have watched a lot of videos of people who is half something in Japan and in Korea too.
Oh, wow.
grown-ups also used to treat the mothers of children. Japanese people thought that the mothers of hybrids are not good, they are horrible, because they married with foreign people, foreign boys, and many Japanese people don't like to marry with foreign people.
Wow,
because
this is very old because now Japanese are more open to marry whoever.
they live in different customs, and they consider with different way.
You still have a strong, may I say, prejudice in Japan against marrying people from other countries, don't you?
Well, yes.
Chicken not an eye.
Could you tell us something about the status of women in Japan? We hear the strangest things, and you've been telling me the strangest things. Could you tell us more about it?
Before
Well,
the
it
war-
is. Australia is right. United Kingdom sounds so formal.
Yes, and now. Also.
Well, up to about 60 years ago, Japanese people thought that the white people are horrible because they are almost red hair and everything is so big and about the body.
Oh my god.
Quite a few people think so.
Oh my
And in Japan, we think that something to be beautiful must be small and delicate.
Hardly
Oh.
apply the word delicate to some of the big soldiers we sent to Japan, could you? But I never knew that you looked down on us because we were big. That's very interesting.
We're always proud of if the Western men are tall and handsome. We consider that as yes.
We're proud to be small and delicate.
Wow, what a difference.
Eureka, I've heard that the Chinese speak about us as pink people instead of white people. It's so much more difficult to be proud of being a pink person, isn't it?
Oh yes, you're a pink person.
Grabe.
Ratnari, let's get... Yes?
Judith, since Philippines has so many colonies and well, let's say nearly in all over the world, how do you feel towards the people in the colonies? Do you have some prejudice?
No, I personally don't have any prejudice. At least I hope I don't. But I know that a lot of Europeans think of the Asians, for example, as rather lazy. I don't
Wow.
want to be rude, but
But right
Isn't
now,
it the opposite though?
Asians are considered like the hardworking race, the most smart race.
Like this is shocking to me because I've always heard how Asian are very dedicated, very
The
hardworking,
perfect-
very
the
like
perfect.
organized, very
There's a saying like
disciplined.
whatever you do well, there's an Asian person that can do it way
10
better,
times better
than
than
you.
you.
Like
Yeah.
there are sayings like that are those are also stereotypes.
Yeah.
But I am surprised to hear that by the
By Europe,
these years-
say that is the opposite.
by these years it was the opposite. They considered them lazy. Wow.
you know, when we started our colonization, we thought we were doing good for you. I know that you disliked, for example, in Indonesia, you disliked the Dutch there, but they probably thought they were helping you.
They were not helping us. See, you mentioned that we are lazy. Well, we are not exactly lazy, but they didn't give us a chance, and we didn't get experiments to build our country.
Well, Julie, I don't think all Asians are lazy.
No, please, you're misunderstanding me. I said that was a general opinion. Maybe not now, I hope certainly not.
General opinion, but, well, when,
Well, Judy, you are here with 3 Asian people.
Ay.
Be careful what you say.
Por otro lado, I think Indonesia has a valid point that mostly of these colonized countries didn't have the chance to, advance their own civilizations because
Yeah.
when the Europeans
colonizers
arrived, in general, UK, the Dutch, the Spaniards, the French, everybody who ever colonized a country, they found a civilization that was not that advanced, but there was certain order. There was a chief in charge. There were communities. There were people who were working, gathering and collecting. Others were hunting.
Yeah, like
others
everybody had
were-
a role in
Exactly,
society,
yeah.
and like if they just let us be,
Maybe
we will have built
advanced
it
in
little
our
by
own
little,
pace.
you know?
Yeah, like they found them with no clothes, no nothing, no transportation, no nothing. Okay, no technology.
And they started like, oh,
Let's
like,
bring you all of
in
this.
charge of everything.
So they really think they were helping these people be more civilized.
but it's
less
true, we didn't get a
savage.
chance.
But Indonesia has a valid point that they didn't let them advance their own society on their own terms, on their own pace.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. I didn't even think about this.
it's not, it's, well, sort of wrong to say that they are lazy. Let's just say
Philippines,
that they've got
calm
a
down.
left feet that they can lift them up.
She didn't mean it.
You've got to consider, for example, the climate in most of the regions in Asia. Well, it's just but natural. You can't just work with all the hot, the warm climate around you. Of course, you'd always feel like fanning yourself, or going to an air-conditioned theater or something else where it's cold.
Is there
Also, there were air conditioners in the 50s.
Let us know in the
I
comments.
didn't know this. Well, obviously there were because he's mentioning this like it's normal.
It's almost the 60th there.
It's
So.
not only just difference of climate that explains a difference in tempo, but is there a difference in philosophy too that perhaps we in the West haven't appreciated? I wonder.
I must say that for me the Spaniards were more lazy because they still have the culture of siesta up to this time. No business works from 12 to 2 p.m. Y me excusan.
Well, as far as I know it, and well, I think you've mentioned it in this program, that Indians think that they should never soil their hands.
What do you
And
mean?
in the Philippines, I must admit that, well, we're sort of inclined to get white-collar jobs and swivel chairs. Most
What
of
are
us do,
what is
especially the
swivel?
college graduates. We don't want to work with our hands. We want to have, well, big bosses and with pretty secretaries around us. That's the common tendency.
Pretty secretaries.
Just a proof that we are lazy.
Oh my
Oh.
god!
I was trying to give you an example. You criticize the countries which do, you criticize the Dutch, for example, but I know the British, when they started doing their colonization, they tried to help the countries they were in.
Yeah, that's what they say. But if you call killing a whole civilization helping, yeah, you are not helping. I'm sorry.
Hello?
What?
I think that we were butting in and taking away your opportunities.
Well, yes, I think so. I'll give an example about the Dutch that we didn't get a chance to be educated, for example.
That was when the Dutch were there.
Yeah. And do you think if the people in the colony get a chance to get free, you will get them? You think?
Oh, now we're going right off the subject.
Yeah. See, my friend from Malaya is very glad that Malaya will get the independence next year. She's
Wow.
very proud, and she tells everybody that Malaya is going to be independent.
Malaya was Malaysia
I
back
think
in
so.
the days.
I think so.
Yeah. Do you think that if you do that,
So they were
in
not
other
even independent.
Wow.
places, and
Yes, we
you'll make them satisfied?
Well, we hope it will make them satisfied. Every country wants to be independent. That's only natural. But there comes a point somebody to decide whether they're ready to receive their independence. But I know we could go off on another long.
Oh my God! Like, what makes you think like, oh, they don't deserve to receive their independence
She
because
said
they
that?
are not ready yet.
But there comes a point when somebody has to decide whether
They are ready to receive their independence or not. Like, what makes you the right to decide? Like, oh yeah, this country doesn't deserve to be independent because they are not ready yet. Like, this is how colonizers thought back in the days. You know, like we are here helping these countries, and no, they are not yet ready to be independent. So we're gonna stay here for 300 years or so. Yes, like oh my God. Oh my God! Why am I getting heated up?
But I know we could go off on another long argument.
Yeah.
Maybe we can have what? I'm sorry, Rob.
I was about to ask.
Tell
what
them,
do
Raul.
they think, the most common or basic causes of our prejudices. Is it mainly skin color?
Maybe.
Do you mean do you mean, for example, taking the American
Well,
trouble in the South?
I guess taking the American side of it, it's just that the white people don't want to mix themselves up with the colored ones.
So what about the colored people? Perhaps they don't want to mix with the white people either.
Well, what about since you brought up the
Raul.
American-based problem? I'd like to ask you, is it as bad as you thought it was going to be before you came, or is it better or worse?
Well, I think it's what I've seen here and what I've heard while I am here and what I have read in the newspapers is just worse than I expected.
Wow.
No, I don't agree. In England, we don't hear too much about the American problem, except, of course, when a certain case came up and the Supreme Court decision, we heard a lot about it then. But not too much. And when I came here, I had imagined from that Attila case that things would be really terrible in the South. And I found that there's a real feeling of optimism here. I stayed in a Negro family, and I was able to see the position, really a bird's eye view of it, you might say. And the first thing that impressed me was that the Negroes themselves were not happy about the situation, but were pleased. They were grateful for what progress had been made, and they were sure that the situation would continue to improve. They
Is
said
that the 2 weeks you were in New Jersey that
yes,
you
that's
stayed in the
right,
Negro
when
family?
I was in the Negro family. I know that was in the northern part, and conditions are better there. And I was very impressed with that. They said it would be a slow process, but things were gradually improving. It was a matter of breaking down tradition, and I was very happy to find that.
I'd like to know some of your other experiences with, yes, Eureka.
I've never seen any
Evidence.
evidence of racial prejudice in the United States. But I found out that most Negroes are laborers, and they don't have a high position on business. But I was very glad.
But
when
that's
I
the
saw
evidence right
Negroes
there.
are in
Why do you
South
think they don't have high positions in business?
It was because of the social segregation.
Hierarchy.
How do you call this?
Yeah, it's segregation. Like they literally made
Institutionalized
made
racism.
they
Isn't
literally
it?
made neighborhoods for people of color and neighborhood for white people. They literally made schools that they receive hand-me-downs for the Negroes. And then for the whites, like everything was brand new, everything was just better. And a person of color was not in any position, like they couldn't even attend a good university, and not everybody could be educated, you know, like so of course they're not gonna be in high positions and positions of businesses and all this stuff because they were not allowed to. So that's right there is a huge evidence of the prejudice towards the black people in America in the 50s.
Orange in Columbia High School, who was the vice president of the student council.
I'm glad you did too. Yes, right now.
Here in New York and New Jersey, I don't see any racial segregation or something like that. But when we stop in Williamsburg and we stop in Negro School, I saw it's very strictly. I mean, the Negro school goes to the special Negro, and
That's already segregation,
I
girl.
talked to
Yeah.
some of the girls in the school, and I asked them how they feel about being segregated. But they said that they don't mind about that, and what they want is equal rights. And there are some places that they can't go, such as restaurant or some clubs.
Yeah.
I think that since all Americans claim and emphasize that America is the most democratic country in the world, and as long as segregation exists, I don't think it's a democratic.
Exactly. And also like even parks. In the parks there were benches that say, okay, no Negroes allowed in this bench. You know?
Really?
Yeah, like they were so hard on this.
And we are talking that this was in the 50s. This was the other day.
Yeah, it was
It's
not
so
long ago. I
recent.
think it was in 59 that happened about the boycott. 58, 59. I don't remember well the dates because I'm really bad at dates. But it was in the 50s what happened with Rosa Parks and whatever.
Well, I don't know anything about American history, but the teacher here knows a bit, at least.
Let's just continue because I have my dates mixed up.
Pure democratic.
Well, adding something to that, isn't it that, well, in the Pledge of Allegiance to the American flag, you mentioned something about I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the Republic for
Why
which
he
it
knows
stands,
that?
one nation indivisible under God.
Why he knows the
Liberty
Pledge of
and justice for all.
Alliance?
Well, the last phrase just doesn't suit everything. I mean,
Yeah.
with this segregation problem here and the discrimination against colored people, how in the world could you have
Liberty and justice for all.
And in one of my hospitality periods, I didn't expect that even the kids could carry it that far. I had the privilege, I should say, of attending one of the dances sponsored by one of the civic groups. And I just noticed that, well, it was a big dance floor, and all the white kids were assembled on the left side.
Yeah.
And the most, shall we say, not strategic part of the ballroom, but all the colored boys and girls were in there. And I never saw a white boy asking a colored girl for a dance, nor did
Yeah.
I see a colored boy asking a white girl for a dance.
Yeah.
I had enough experience too. When I first arrived here, and I happened to mention to a group of young people that I was going to stay with a Negro family. One of the boys got up and walked out of the room, and I felt awful. I thought, well, we're in the north now, not in the south. And then when we did go into the south, I really came against it pretty hard. We went into this big store, and I was in the ladies' cloakroom, and I was washing my hands, and I was with a group of the eastern delegates, the rather darker-skinned ones like that Nati. And I was standing a little apart from them, and this lady came up to me, and she pulled me to one side, obviously assuming that I was American, and she said, what are these Negroes doing in here? And I was so cross, and then I
Wow.
told her as calmly as I could that I was with them and who we were, and of course her attitude immediately changed. But it gives you sort of a nasty shock when you come up against it face to face. You read about it in the newspapers, you hear about it, but you don't really realize the significance of it until it hits you in the face.
Yeah.
I think the major
So these experiences that the African American had in the United States were horrible.
Yeah.
Even though, like, for other countries, like in our country, our black race comes from directly from slavery brought by the Spaniards. In the end, they all mixed, and there was no this segregation. When we
Yeah.
declared independence, they said we are all Dominicans.
Yeah.
So it's horrible that still in the 50s they were treated like less. So como tan a la franca. I don't even know how to express this in English. Sorry, because it's not my language, but it's like so raw. So I understand the United Kingdom girl now, because she's like immediately she's confronted like, what is these Negroes doing here? As if they are accusing her of bringing these Negroes in this place that they are not supposed to be, and that she knows better not to do that because she's white. But
Look, the bus boycott was actually in 1955 to 1956.
And this
so
was
this was exactly the
1956.
same year. The Montgomery bus boycott happened because of Rosa Parks.
this
You know
was
the story.
when they were forced to always sit in the back of the bus.
Back in the 50s, all African American or people in color in general, because also Asians were discriminated, they were not allowed to sit on the front of the bus, only on the back of the bus. And then there was this lady called Rosa Parks, that she was actually sitting in the back. But the thing is that, like, if the bus was already full, someone from the back of the bus, like if a white person came in, they had to stand up and give the seat to that white person, because that white person had to be sitting down, like, you know, like. So she was very tired, and she said, "No, I'm not gonna give up my seat." And they were like, "Oh, we're gonna take you to jail." And she's like, "Take me to jail, but I'm not gonna give my seat." And then she was actually taken into custody. And then when that blew up, and Martin Luther King Jr. heard about it, and like they gathered the people and they boycotted the buses. So from that day on, like a whole year, no people of color were going into the bus. So
Wow.
these boycotts brought a lot of financial issues for the bus industry in Montgomery, because like hello, you're missing out on a lot of money that you could have made here, because now the people of color don't want to be in the bus. So
And what
when
did they do for transportation? Walking to
any other shit except going into the buses.
Get out.
So these debates happen around this era. This was a highly, like, an era where discrimination and segregation was full on in the United States. So I'm not surprised that she got looked bad because she was mixing with the Negroes, and that I'm not surprised that other white people are like, why are these Negroes here in the bathroom? Because even the bathroom were segregated. Like, people of color could not go to bathrooms of white people, and like bathroom of white people were in better conditions, they have better stuff, and like everything that the black community received was hand-me-downs from the things that the white people
they
want
didn't
anymore.
want anymore.
Even the books in the school, the desk on the school, everything.
So it's interesting that the white lady changed her views after she learned that they were all foreigners and that they were there for a specific task.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that they don't have any problems with their races when they learn that they are not from the United States. So their issues is really internal of the United States at this point.
Yeah.
Cause of the prejudice is skin color, and I think I don't know why, but I think the white people think that colored people have dirty skin.
Yeah, that's still
And,
until today.
Progressive culture. So,
Well, I believe a lot of white people already has changed their views about race and everything. So a lot of things have changed. It's not quite equal yet, but
It's not
it's
that
not
bad.
that bad
It's not
anymore.
that bad, but there are people who still have a colonization mentality that they think like, oh, because you are of dark skin color, you must be poor and you don't wash, you don't take a bath, you must smell bad and stuff like that, you know. So yeah.
The white people are the most great and wonderful person in the world.
On this matter of skin color, if you were here in the summer, you'd see lots of Americans on all the beaches trying to get brown.
It's significant.
I wonder what that really means.
I think we white women have an inferiority complex. The Eastern women and the Negro women have a sort of reputation for being so beautiful.
I guess
We're a
you
little
just-
jealous of them.
I guess you just envy us colored people.
Raul.
Well, I think so, Mrs. Waller, because in the Philippines, it's just funny. There's a common tendency among women. Well, those who have a dark complexion, I should say, or just a tanned one, or just a brown complexion. Well, especially these high society matrons. Well, even if they've got already wrinkles on their face, they still want to bleach their skin. Suppose you meet one right now and you say, good morning, and you see that she's just tanned and brown. But after 3 months, you meet the same person, and with the usual society walk, and trying to be very dignified and cultured and everything. And you just notice that her face is lighter than before. And when you look at her hands and everything up to her arms, well, you'd be likable to exclaim, Holy Moses, because there's a real, very great difference. She's very light hair, but you look at the arms and everything. The lower part of the body, but
Oh yeah, this
Very
kid
big
needs to be protected.
colored here, but very light.
They really bleach their skin.
They do, Mrs. Waller. They
What about
pay.
Japan? Japanese women don't want it.
Lo grande, the big thing is that this still is ongoing. There's a lot of
there's
people
a lot of
who
white bleaching products and whitening
Yeah,
products
yeah,
being
yeah.
advertised, and people want to be white for some reason.
And if you don't accomplish your desired skin color, you can always use makeup to look lighter. So, like, this is still ongoing, not going nowhere.
Changed anyway, do
Some Japanese women
they? Dye?
dye their hair red.
Oh really?
Yes. They like a red hair, but I don't like it. As the Western people try to get darker skin, we try to get lighter skin, but we prevent the sun and
But you're such a nice color now. I don't
Oh.
mind. I think
when we go out, then we use some long sleeve blouse to prevent from the sun, so we don't get a very dark color skin.
Tell me,
Oh my
what
God.
are your governments, if anything, doing about problems of prejudice?
Absolutely
You mentioned
nothing.
some prejudice
They don't
that
care about
exists
this.
in your country. What are your governments doing?
There are
to
other
fight
problems that they
You
think is
mentioned
more
prejudice against
important.
Hybrids. You mentioned the prejudice against hybrids too. You haven't told us much about the position of women. Otherwise, by the way, let me ask you right here: are women any freer in Japan now than they were before the war?
Well, before the war, there was no democracy, and women belonged to men, and men controlled women in everything.
Wow.
And
How about
men
now?
had first opportunity to everything. Even getting out of the door, women had to open the door first, and the men passed first. In
Really?
the buses or theaters, men take seat first, and if there's no seat, women
Raul
have
is
to-
shocked.
Oh, I'd love to live in Japan.
What? Raul,
It's changing at all?
no! Oh my God, I was rooting for you. I thought he was shocked, as in horrified that this is happening, and then he utters he wants to live in Japan, and it doesn't seem like it's a joke. What's happening?
And just now women can vote, and women have equal opportunity in everything.
Judith, you were talking about your prejudice against Cockney accent a moment ago.
What
Is that
is
still very strong
Cockney
in England, this
accent?
prejudice of the so-called aristocracy against the Cockney?
No, I don't think it's a very serious problem now, especially since the war. You know, this idea that the English speak either with a Cockney accent or else with a very aristocratic accent, that isn't true anymore. And we certainly don't despise people anymore if they speak with that. If you go into the House of Parliament now, you will often hear a North Country accent or a Welsh accent or even a Cockney accent. And we're proud of those kind of people because they are the people who got us through the last war, and nobody would dare say anything against them. In fact, it's the aristocratic accent which is the other side of the fence, and people laugh at that nowadays, I'm afraid. In fact, you may think that my accent is a little cultured, but I assure you back in England, I have not quite a Cockney accent, but still an accent.
At least you mean to say you're
England have so many accents. I mean, the United Kingdom.
And to me, they all sound the same.
Not at all.
To me, they
And
all
as
sound
she
the
mentioned, these northern accents, this Welsh, this
to me, they all sound the same, except Scottish people.
Scottish and all these people, they sound absolutely different, and I don't understand them at all. I really understand Australian accent more than what I understand these difficult English accents.
Schoolmistress would not totally approve of you?
Oh no, I should be corrected.
Judith, I hate to think what's going to happen when you go back after 3 months here.
So do I.
You'll write me about that, won't you? I wanted to have time to ask you what you thought individuals could do in terms of eradicating prejudice. But our time's almost up. Anybody got a quick answer?
Well, I guess we should carefully examine the individual first before passing any judgment on him. If we ever
Wow.
pass a judgment, we should be just with him.
That's a good note to end on. Thank you, Dottie, Noriko, Judith, and Raul. Next week, we're going to continue on this subject of prejudice with 4 delegates from Africa, 1 white and 3 colored. The delegates from the Union of South Africa, Gold Coast, Ethiopia, and Nigeria.
Wow.
Well, there you have it, guys. I think they kind of deviated a bit from the main subject at some point.
Of prejudice,
but they
and
gave us
started
a
talking about racism
Yeah,
and
they-
discrimination and segregation.
Yeah, because they were talking about racial prejudice, and then they expanded about the realities of their countries. They gave us such an insight about what were happening.
What
in
was
their
the
countries.
situation in the 50s in each of their countries and also in America?
That video is a historical treasure, should be protected at all costs, okay? And yeah, I wonder what Americans think of this video, because it doesn't give, like, it had left me like with a bad taste in the mouth about how America was built, you know, in the backs of the minorities, but also like it doesn't show America in a good light at all. So I wonder what they
those were
think.
just rough times.
Yeah.
Things have changed a lot, and there were a lot of people who fought for a better future for colored people.
I'm just amazed how Raul was using American words against
Highly.
them. Like, but
Like
you
the
say that
list of
this justice for all, but it doesn't apply. I don't see that.
Justice for all, except if you are a person of
Asterisco,
color.
an asterisk next to
For
this.
all whites. Whites only.
Ay, señor, mira.
Anyway, guys,
We're going to hell,
this
aren't we?
video is long enough already because we had a lot to say and they had a lot to say. So thank you if you've been watching until here. Thank you also to our patrons and our supporters.
Thank you so much to our patrons, Velki, Emilio, Val Mike, Val Jung, Pogi Pinoy, Tita Weng, Fred Gabriel, David Sanz, and Andrew Chica. Also, a huge shout out to our certified and verified Sol&Lunatics, especially Cherry Flor, Janice, Kenny Hughes, Brian Cabusora, Glenn Jen, Eggy, AJ Primicias, Tish21, Yokagi-san, Estelberry Jen, V Halia, Gabe, WV, Roalf, Sherbon, Don Rotopuso, Emilio Taveras, Luna Esqueloque, Pinoy OFW Adventure, Jumberm MZPH, Sixman, Sigma, Archie, and Fala la 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 la.
And now watch
this video. It appears right here, recommended by YouTube's algorithm especially for you. So click on it right now.